Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. We're pleased to be joined in our studio again by our friend and Newsmax contributor and best-selling book author, Dick Morris. Dick, good to see you.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for being here. The new Congress is now seated. House Speaker John Boehner has scheduled a vote to repeal Obamacare on January 12th. The Democrats and much of the media are all over the Republicans for doing this. They say it's a waste of time because the Senate would never approve it, and even if they did, Obama himself would veto it. Now, how do you look at it, Dick?
Well, it's the beginning of a long, year-long process, a battle over Obamacare. And I believe the Republicans will win that battle. But the opening round is the Republicans pass a bill to repeal it. It either passes the Senate because there are enough cowardly Democrats who vote for it, figuring that Obama will veto it, or not. Obama vetoes it and there isn't enough to override. Then the next act will be that they work on defunding it, and Obama will veto that. And then comes the really serious fight. When he needs money for the debt limit or for his new budget, you attach the defunding to those items, which he can't veto. There's no line item veto. And you force him to sign it. And he'll say you're destroying the country. And we'll say you're destroying the healthcare system. And that will be the beginning of a year-long battle on which the fate of healthcare and of the country rests.
The national debt now tops $14 trillion. Speaker Boehner will try to round up enough votes to raise the debt ceiling, but Representative Michelle Bachmann, among others, doesn't want them to do that. Now, are Republicans headed for an inter-party battle over this, and may there be a situation perhaps representative of the one in the 90s when the GOP and Clinton locked horns and the government shut down?
Well, that's a possibility. I think that what's more likely is that Boehner and the Republicans present a united front to Obama and say, we'll raise the debt ceiling, but only if you cut government spending. It's the obscene spending that you've initiated that forced this debt. And since we are going to have to continue to borrow the money, we'll let you do it, but only if you dramatically cut spending. And rather than wait for the 2012 budget, they can insist on spending cuts in this current budget, the 2011 budget, by tying it to the debt limit.
So this is cut-go instead of pay-go, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, former House Majority Leader Dick Armey says John Boehner, is a legitimate conservative, noting his opposition to earmarks years ago. Now, how do you think Boehner will fare with Tea Party members who vow to be watchdogs in the new Congress?
Well, I think that watchdogs bark, and their job is to watch him and push him and move him to the right. And I think that's entirely legitimate. But I do think that Boehner's a solid conservative, and I think the Republican ranks will tend to be united rather than divided as this year progresses.
Senate Republicans charge that Majority Leader Harry Reid is mounting an unprecedented power grab that will virtually eliminate the use of the filibuster in most cases and allow the Democrats to ram through their agenda with a simple 51-vote majority. Can he do that, number one? Number two, can the Republicans stop him? And number three, what would be the net results if he did it?
He can't do it because the Democrats won't let him do it for two reasons. One is they know that they're going to be in the minority until 2013, so they'll want to protect the filibuster. But secondly, a more subtle reason is that they don't want to have to vote against Obama, or for Obama. In other words, right now, Manchin and Webb and Nelson, some of these so-called moderates, when a bill to cut Obamacare comes before the Senate, they want to vote for it, figuring that Obama is going to veto it. But if their votes are the margin of victory or defeat and there's no filibuster option, they're not going to want to cast those votes. They can't cast those votes. So they're going to stop Reid from doing it because they like the 60-vote thing because it gives them flexibility on how they vote.
That's really inside baseball politics here, isn't it? All right, the Michael Steele issue. Some former Republican National Committee officials say they don't want him to have a second term as RNC chair, and the only way Republicans can win the White House is with a new RNC chairman. Are they correct? Should he be replaced?
Well, I think that Steele is a very good man, but I don't think he did a very good job as chairman. While he was fairly successful at raising money, he was not successful at not spending the money. And as a result, the National Committee was really not a big force in the 2010 elections or in the efforts against Obamacare.
Who would you like to see in his place?
I don't really have a candidate. I don't know the other candidates well.
Okay. Now back to Michelle Bachmann for a moment. ABC News is reporting that she is seriously planning to run for president, or at least considering doing so. Do you think she should? And if so, how do you think she'd do?
I think she'd be a very strong candidate. I think that I would encourage her to run. There are many, many good candidates that are looking at getting into the race. We don't have a shortage. We have a surplus of good candidates. And I continue to believe that probably neither Romney nor Palin nor Huckabee nor even my personal first choice, Gingrich, will necessarily win this nomination, because I think they all have a lot of baggage and people are worried about their getting nominated. And I think some of the understudy class that include Chris Christie if he runs, Mike Pence, Mitch Daniels, John Thune, Dement from South Carolina, Jindal, Pawlenty, and Bachmann. Those all deserve a shot. It's going to be like American Idol. We'll watch them debate and we'll vote for the one we like.
All right, in your estimation, who right now is the front runner for the 2012 presidential nomination?
There isn't any. Romney is running first in the polls unless you put Christie in there, in which case he runs first. But Romney can't win the nomination because of his support of Romneycare, the Massachusetts equivalent of Obamacare. And I don't think that he's going to be a serious chance of winning. So it's really wide open at this point, which is great.
Donald Trump?
No, he's not going to be a candidate. He might run. He pulled this stuff 12 or 16 years ago, and he hopes everybody's forgotten, but I remember.
Robert Gibbs announced he's leaving the Obama White House as his press secretary. Now, so far, most of Obama's top advisors have already departed. Do you think this is a bit unusual, or is this routine for a president?
No, I think that there are two reasons why people jump ship. One is because they get burned out, but the other is that they figure Obama's going to lose in 2012, so they want to cash in while they still have 2 years of his presidency, so they can actually start making some money. Yeah. And I think that's probably the Gibbs situation. One of the appointments that really bugged me was Gary Sperling as head of the Council of Economic Advisors. I got to know I got to know Gene really well in the Clinton White House. He knows nothing about economics. He's good at government spending, but when you get to the mysteries of the private sector, like supply and demand, he's out to lunch. It's ridiculous to name him head of the Council of Economic Advisors. It's like appointing a pacifist head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
You know, some predict that Attorney General Eric Holder will not be Attorney General by the end of the year. I've heard that tossed around. What do you think?
I think he'll stay to the bitter end. I think that he's got an ideological agenda, and I think he's determined to make his imprint on the judicial system, and I think he wants all 4 years to do that.
You think Janet Napolitano's dug in well, too? Or?
No, I think that she might go. You know, she was over her head to begin with. No, I think she thanks her lucky stars there was no major hit on her watch.
Right. Dick Morris, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thanks so much.
It's good.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.